This WAFLW live stream is proudly brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the WAFL, and WAFLW, Bupa, proud sponsor of WA football. And the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.
Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my, are you ready? Ready and now to keep going, and I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, round 7 of the WAFLW competition. Coming to you from Claremont Oval, the Tigers and Swan Districts, your match for streaming here this afternoon. Overcast conditions, we're expecting some rain later on today. Hopefully it stays fairly dry before the end of this game between two sides that desperately need another win, both coming off big losses last week. The Tigers thumped by 50 points by Subiaco, and Swans went down to Peel by 42 points. So Claremont come into this game with a 3-win, 2-loss record, sitting in second place on the ladder, ahead of Swan Districts, who are in 4th on the table. They've won 2 games and lost 3. They have met once before, these two teams, back in round 2. Swan Districts winning that one by 36 points at Bassendean Oval. But here, the Tigers get to host Swans for the first time. David Lindsay in commentary with you. We'll introduce the rest of our commentary team shortly. Time for a few sponsors' messages and then back with all the action from this big match between Claremont and Swan Districts. Right.
A high ball.
Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her, just maybe for a while. You're a lady in a hurdling. Well, I feel that day.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First, a network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
Yeah, incredibly exciting. It's obviously a new chapter in my career, in my football career, but I'm incredibly excited to be here and a part of this football club. And I've been really impressed by the professionalism, the level of respect that they've treated me through this process, and I guess the core values that the club have. The product that we're producing now for AFLW has really grown over 3 years, but the next 3 to 5 years is going to be incredible, and some really talented girls coming through, and I can't wait to actually work alongside them. And I felt like I'd be a part of a family here.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Claremont and Swan Districts here at Claremont Oval, round 7 action in the WAFLW competition. The Tigers and Swan Districts. David Lindsay in commentary alongside Emily Johnson, who's a regular on these broadcasts. Welcome again, Jono.
Thank you, good to be back.
And Clint Degebrot, the manager of female programs at the WA Footy Commission. Bit of a rainbow just off to your right as well, Deg. We always like to keep our eye on that. The rain did just start after I said hopefully wouldn't get any before the final siren.
Well, if it didn't rain a little bit, we wouldn't get that rainbow, so it's all good. Really looking forward to seeing the Swans youngsters back in action today after a shock loss last week, someone would describe. Exciting to see Mim Strom and Bianca Webb strut their stuff, players from South Fremantle and West Perth respectively. Bella Lewis back in from the 18s into Claremont. That's a strong side out there too with Sophie McDonald, so lots of young talent out there with some AFLW and, of course, some 2019 WAFLW talent as well.
Interesting as well, Jono. We're going through the teams that were handed to us, and Swans only have 20 today. They're going to play one short on the bench.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they've miscounted or what, but I think what they've got there is a strong team. Interesting that they will be one short on the bench, so hopefully they don't need that extra.
So Claremont with the full complement of 5 coming to the bench. Just the 4 for Swan Districts as players start to take their positions this afternoon. Deggers, your tip for the Savo?
I tip both teams to bounce back really well. This last game, last time they met, Claremont went with them for 3 quarters and Swans were able to run them over the top in the last bit and gave them a bit of a whack in the end. Would expect Claremont to hang out throughout the journey. I really can't call this one between the two sides. Let's say Swans for tradition.
And Jono, I think you can only go one way, can't you?
I can go either way, but I think...
it's kind of why I said Swans, is because my person to my right was going to say Claremont.
I do think it'll be a very close game, and hopefully, for me, or for the Tigers, they can hold on and get this one.
So we're underway here at Claremont Oval. The opening bounce, Swans and Claremont, and Mimstrom is in the ruck against Paris Laurie, which will be a fascinating duel between those two. Gibson with the first kick of the game. She broke through the banner before we came on air here this afternoon. Her 100th game. Kate Orme collects and then kicks for the wide open spaces. Didn't really aim it as wide as it went, but as it goes out without anyone touching, it'll be a free kick to Swan Districts. Plenty of space out there, of course. Just 16 aside in the WAFLW. An opportunity for Swans to go forward through Baker. She puts it into some space. Coming up to collect the footy is Webb. Worked off it. Becomes the tackler on Goodwin Wissink. And the umpire calls that one a draw. So opening minute, just that very light shower of rain came during the commercial break a moment or two ago. And it's disappeared for now, but the forecast is a little bit grim this afternoon. So we're hoping that it stays fairly dry. No clear winner from this contest either. Paris Laurie getting herself up off the deck. And then straight into action in the ruck as well. We'll talk a bit about Mim Strom and how she's managed to come across to get a game here for Swan Districts throughout the broadcast. She's in action here again. Under pressure from Laurie. Nice work from Orme. Giving the hand pass away to Bonza. Clears the area. Swans have a 2-on-1 here. They'd like to keep this one in. It's come off hands though. And we will see a boundary thrown right beneath the scoreboard here at Tigerland. And as we'd probably expect, it's pretty tight and tough early, Deck.
Yeah, Claremont have got their box straight in to play, and Swans are playing an interesting defence behind the ball as well. So both teams up nice and high. Kate Orme into the action as the anchor.
Gibson there overrunning the footy as well, being watched very closely by Leah Urseg. So the umpire calls for the footy. Strom leaping early. Laurie wins the footy though. Hand passes away. There's Bonza again. Up to the dangerous White. Couldn't take the mark. Strom had it and lost it quickly. Swan Districts combined nicely. This kick didn't go where it was intended from Renee. Comes back towards Bowen. Pops a hand pass out. Finds Ferguson. Uses it well. Into space for Webb to run onto. Now an opportunity as they go forward for Houghton. Her first game in the black and white in the WAFLW. Shrugs that tackle well. She's within scoring distance. Has a bounce. That was audacious. She's caught now. Just gets a hand pass away in the nick of time. Anderson can't keep it in. And really needed to put boot to ball there, Jono. There was a shot for goal coming there.
Yeah, I think her eyes lit up a bit when she thought she'd shaken Sophie McDonald, but she fought back there and didn't let Horton get the kick away.
She'll do the ruck work this time, opposed to Laurie, who steps around her easily, gets to the front, wins it to the front of the pack. Bonza slaps it to the advantage of Orme. Her hand pass goes beneath the legs of her teammate. Good tackling in attack there for Swans from Davison. And they force another stoppage. So the ball's been locked in Swan District's attacking half in the opening 3 minutes. Houghton with the tap. Goodwin Wissink tracks the footy, comes back onto a left side, clears with a high ball. It'll bounce in open space. Friendly bounce for the Tigers as it turns out. Smith collects the footy. Hand pass to the feet of Laurie, who's worked off it nicely by Bowen. Gibson almost had her hand kicked off there. Ferguson's hand pass was blocked, slapped away by the Tigers. Smith collects, takes on the tackler. She's caught by Strom, and that'll be holding the ball. So Strom lays off a hand pass to Bowen. A lot of the WA18's girls getting involved early. The kick bounces nicely for Houghton, who swings onto a right boot. This time she will fire on goal, but it's away to the right. And one behind only.
Neatly done. The Swans really rebounding well, and that's part of the 18s program too, and a couple of Bo McDonald's charges out there getting into rebound for the Swans straight away.
Where is Bo? Bo would be watching today, wouldn't he?
Bo's got a pretty close look. He's about 30 centimetres off your left, off your port side. I was
wondering who that was looking over my notes.
No, so they're rebounding beautifully, the Swans at the moment. Claremont having a really hard time clearing their 50.
There's about 7 or 8 players out there from the 18 squad, which was a very successful squad last weekend. A couple of wins. I think that's why Bo's still smiling. Free kick picked out here. It'll go the way of Swans, being held without it. Claremont player down behind play as well. Slow to get herself to the feet, but she's okay, Leah Ursig. So Swans will send themselves inside or up towards attacking 50. Davison on a good lead. Takes the mark. Wants to move it on quickly. The kick a little untidy. Laurie was favoured by it. Couldn't mark, but recovers well. Nice little sidestep from Bonza. Off to Orm. Needs to be quick with a hand pass. Puts a teammate under pressure. Houghton strong in the tackle. And Swans again will force another stoppage inside their attacking 50. This ball's not coming out easy, Jono.
No, just a few too many handballs maybe out there. Just need to clear it out of the 50 and look for the boundary maybe.
So Orm does just that, although her kick goes sideways rather than forward. Lewis will attack the footy. Worked off it though by Hyde. That's Brianna. Gives a hand pass inside to Strom. Long towards full forward. Contest from behind came from Gibson. Claremont should be able to clear. Goranova, well tackled by Gibson. Stood up to it pretty well, though. Got a hand pass away. Claremont with the extra numbers around, dashing through, unable to take the footy there for Swans was Stannett, and Claremont do clear on this occasion, but Hyde is in the way. So Brianna Hyde with the footy. And yet again, Claremont can't get into their attacking half. Bowen now. Got the bright red boots on this afternoon. Makes good contact with the football. Goodwin Wissink with the spoil from behind. Bonza places herself in a good position again, but she's knocked off the footy. Great tackle from Laurie, front on, and the umpire will reward her. Davison would have felt that one.
Well, Davison just had a little look at a hole, just couldn't quite get it there in the end. Little short, sharp handball. Like her intellect, though, she actually tried to create.
Hyde and Lewis. Again, a couple of these 18-year-olds. Dished off towards Bowen, crunched in the tackle. A little bit high, though, from Colgate. And Bowen will receive the free kick. Jasmine Stewart about to check into the game. Replacing Roden Zimdale. Bowen inside with her kick, a little dangerous. Nice work from the Tigers. Tim has made the spoil. Socket forward by Stewart. Bounces nicely past all the Swans players. At the back is White. She goes off the deck but misses the footy. Brianna Hyde collects, immediately tackled. Stewart another soccer kick. Timmers needs to be clean and she does well. Hand passes away. Bonds along with the right boot. Not a great kick, although it clears. Maguire gets over the back. Robertson with a chance, just needs to pick it up. She decides to soccer, can't make any contact at all. And Swans through Cole do a good job to clear. Hand pass to Maguire, and her kick has the full distance required to get to Brianna Hyde. Hyde with the right boot, long kick. Good spoil from behind from the Tigers, came from Pugh. Coming in hard again, Colgate. Loves the physical action. Swans come in, nice hand pass from Ralph. Sets up Anderson. Sells the dummy and spins beautifully. Gets herself out of trouble. Long kick. McDonald getting back. Controlled the footy well enough without being able to mark it. Garstone gave it away. The kick, though, smothered there on Goranova. Houghton has it. Quick pop-up hand pass to Hyde. Gives it on to Ralph. Just put the footy on the deck. Lets Zadnik in. And Claremont have been able to hold this one up. Some promising ball movement there from Swan Districts, but the Tigers have been able to hang in there and force another stoppage.
Hasn't been in the game just in the last couple of seconds, but been really impressed with Amber Goodwin-Wissink and her work over the last couple of weeks. She's really strong early, and just as I started to think about her, along came Garstone and her defensive crew to come put some pressure on. So I've been impressed with the Claremont backs.
Yeah, and Sophie McDonald as well has added a lot to that back line. So Sophie McDonald's got the job on Houghton, which frees up Garstone to run a little bit as well. So watch this space.
Ball slipping through the fingertips there of Osborne. Gives Claremont a chance. Colgate, the soccer kick was an interesting strategy. Went straight to Gibson. Anderson's over the footy, being hassled by Colgate. We'll see another ball up. And I would have thought with this sort of slippery conditions we've got with a little bit of rain around, we'll see plenty of these today.
A few of the girls might have stayed up late watching the Matildas last night with the amount of soccering going
There's been
on.
plenty so far. Wasn't a great result in the end for the Matildas. Stewart, longer with the left boot. Bounces almost right on the line on the wing. Ralph collects and then pops a hand pass away to no one in particular. Has to follow up herself. Dives in low. Could have almost been kicking in danger against Robertson or contact below the knees. The umpire decided to let it all go. Gibson beaten by a bad bounce, but she follows up, puts pressure on Colgate. Has support through Pugh as Colgate. Bowen in hard. Likewise, in came Smith. And another ball up. Centre wing, we've only seen the one behind scored in the opening 9 minutes of this match.
Speaking about the Swans backs too, Bree Hyde started well. She's come off a player a couple of times. She's giving Bella Lewis a bit of work to do. And Michaela Hyde's been good up the front too with a bit of physical pressure. So impressive start from the sisters.
Gibson worried out of that kick by Zadnik. Osborne there with support. Tries to crash through, leaves the ball behind. Lewis spun in the tackle, but got a hand pass away. In the opposite direction for Swan Districts is Stannett. High towards half forward, clears the pack. Houghton slaps it on. That was clever. McDonald read it best though. Collected it well. Kick was effective. Wasn't pretty. Did the job though. Colgate now. Collects well off her bootlaces. Kicks to a dangerous position. Little nudge from Ferguson. Got rid of her opponent. Claremont with the extra numbers here though. And they should be able to win out. A very good tackle has been applied. And that will be a free kick to Bowen. Wants to move it on quickly. Long towards full forward. Houghton running underneath the flight of the ball. It gets over the back. Chance at the back there for Holwell. Couldn't take it with her. Under pressure, McDonald might be happy to rush this one through. And with a bit of help from Orme, they do exactly that, the Tigers. So Swans dominating the early position and also the field position, but unable to really put anything on the scoreboard so far, Jono.
Really neat work from Horton, from Sophie McDonald, because Horton had run her under the footy deliberately, was ready to turn back to goal, and Sophie McDonald was just able to put her hand in there and change all that. Is that what you were going to say?
Exactly.
Sorry, Jono.
No, you're right.
Steal the pass.
Ferguson has it, kicks towards full forward. Nice little dish off, hand pass, and Swans do get the opening goal.
Webb.
And it is Webb snapping on the right boot. So Swans, with all that hard work, finally getting some reward. First goal of the game to the Black and Whites.
Lots of inside 50s for that.
Yeah, definitely. That Claremont back stood up, but that repeated entries from Swans and just a bit much. They finally find one loose and easy goal in the end.
So Webb with the first of the game. Took over 10 minutes of play. I don't think we're going to see a high-scoring game in these conditions.
Just a random comment here, but Emily Bond's a welcome addition into the team this week, and you'd be forgiven to think that was Cara Donnellan. Got herself in a great condition, Emily. New club at Claremont. Got a very, very important player inside.
Both the shoulders strapped. She's had knee issues as well, hasn't she, over the years?
She wouldn't like me to say yes to that. She would like me to say that her knees are really strong and she's been in the gym working on them really hard and she's ready to go.
I think last time we were at Claremont Oval, she was doing the running for the Tigers, but now back on the park, which is good to see.
Yeah, a bit of an illness last week and they did miss her intensity in the middle.
Hill winning the tap. It comes out the back to Bowen. Good hand pass into space. Chance for Baker to set something up. Nice use of the body there from Valentini. Gives a hand pass inside to Orme, who drops the footy. Now Swans have half a chance to score. Pressure being applied front on. Davison with the tackle that comes out, though, to Valentini. And that was a clever kick. Just put it out in space in front of Zadnik. Couldn't quite finish off the mark, but did well to feed a hand pass back. Coming through is Bonza. Off to Stewart. With a bit of dash, she moves away nicely. Drills the pass to Robertson. Couldn't handle it on the chest in the end. Now becomes the tackler. It's a good tackle as well. Spills the ball out of the grasp of Cole. Here comes Lewis. Now Zadnik, her hand pass blocked. We're out of play.
Good to see Bonza and Jazzy Stewart linking up there. Hopefully we'll see that a bit more today. Just got to finish their hard work with the mark at the end there.
It's a match-up down the bottom there in Robinson and Cole, and it's the very, very experienced against the second gamer.
Umpire comes inside the field of play to do the boundary throw-in. Provides a bit of space. Anderson been called for a throw. Ball just got stuck in her hands, really, as she tried to slap it back with the two hands.
Just being punished for being too clean. It was a carry in volleyball, so I reckon the umpire got that one right.
So Zadnik will get the free kick. Once she worked out it was hers. Kicks hoping for White. The ball comes from Osborne. Follows up well. Gives a hand pass away. Pugh, though, off to Bonza. Under pressure from Anderson. Bonza stands up after winning the ball at ground level. Osborne's hand pass goes astray. Colgate to a dangerous position at centre half forward. This ball comes from behind by Maguire. Roden Zimdal running away from goal. Hooks across her shoulder. Both Orme and Lewis the only chances here for Claremont. They'll put the pressure on. Swans do well enough to get a bit of a clearing kick. Roden Zimdal's followed up well. Off to Robertson. Was she tackled without it? She was. Slung away after the ball spilled out of her hands. She'll get the free kick.
Won't quite have the carry here, Reg.
It's going to be 50 metres out when she puts boot to ball. In fact, even further out. Kicks to the pocket. Boucher favoured by the kick. Untidy, unable to take possession. White does. Hemmed in against the boundary. Gives a hand pass off to Laurie. Back to Roden Zimdale. Kicks towards the top of the goal square. Maguire with a good fist. Knocks it away. And then Boucher follows up with a clearing kick. Can only just reach defensive 50. Orm collects. Wants to give the hand pass away. There was no one really on though. Gibson over the football. Comes out the back door. Good tackle, Roden Zimdale. Front on. Earns her side a restart inside their attacking 50.
Just wanted to get that little dig in there at Robbo.
That's the second one, dig it.
I think she listens to these too. She goes back and watches the replay. So it should be on to you.
One of the State Academy coaches, very, very talented up-and-comer.
She's coming to the bench now, replaced by Alana Dickey. As Roden Zimdale dispossessed in that tackle by Anderson. Collected by Strom. She's being hassled as well and loses the football. Pugh has it up against the boundary. Kicks deep into the pocket. Comes off hands and Claremont... No, the goal umpire is signalling a behind. The boundary umpire wants to throw it in. Field umpire thinks we better have a chat about this because you'd like your umpires to have some sort of agreement down there. Going to call the boundary umpire in as well to work out exactly what happened there. But the goal umpire was pretty definite straight away. It was a behind. No, field umpires decided we'll throw this one in.
It's in front of this play too. Fee Boucher putting a heap of work into Chloe Metcalf in the goal square.
Strom flicks it over the back. Attempted soccer kick from Hyde. Missed everything. Lewis kicks to the top of the goal square. Dangerous position. Boucher does well. Clears, but doesn't really clear the area. Chance for Smith, who steadies and kicks with the right. Won't quite have the carry. Comes off hands out the back door, and Claremont do eventually get their first score with just over 2 minutes to go in this first term. Maguire restarts play quickly. Bowen with the mark and then goes to ground. Pokes her kick into the pocket for Osborne. Osborne long and wide and a little too wide. Kate Orme will get a free kick for out of bounds on the full.
I was just about to say the Swans have moved the ball really well and without panicking, but then kick it out on the full. Just a slight error there.
Dickey on the lead. The ball clears her head. Osborne was in better position. Couldn't take it herself. Swans with a kick towards the half back line. Orme attacks it well. Long kick in towards full forward. Lewis crashes in. Smashed into the body of Boucher. Roving in the pocket is White. Snap on goal. Brilliant goal. How has she managed that?
Goal.
Claremont pinch one and they're back within a point.
A fair bit of footy, Brooke White, but hats off to Bella Lewis, who was cast in the role of the person that had to fly there, the super flea down the forward line, super flea at ground level, crashes into Boucher, brings the ball to ground, and it creates that turnover. Wonderful work from the small forward.
And I think something that has been missing from Claremont is that fast ball forward. It was Kate Orme took it on and got the ball into their forward line quickly and didn't allow the Swans defenders to get back and close up the space.
Kate Orme, 2 long ball in, was that right?
Yeah.
Setting that anchor again and launching into 50. Good structure by the Tigers.
So we're inside the last minute of the quarter. A goal either way in this first term. Swans haven't had a close game all season. Their closest match was a 29-point loss in the first round. The early stages of this one suggest this one might be the close one they've been waiting for. Stewart picks herself up off the deck. Hands it back to the umpire. Zadnik in the ruck opposed to Strom. Coming off half-back was Smith. She's immediately tackled. The umpire will call for a ball up. So 20 seconds left in the term. Both sides would need to be extremely clean from here to generate a score before the siren. Colgate with the opportunity. Hand passes into the centre. Roden Zimdale on the turn. Kicks to the advantage of Dickey. Full stretch, couldn't take the mark. That might be the chance missed there for Claremont, although Pugh could reload. Send them towards half forward. White on a long lead. Kick just eludes her. And the siren ends things in this first term. A tight, entertaining first quarter. Swans had the better of it. But as it turns out, they lead by just 1 point at the first change. Swans 1-2, Claremont 1 goal. Goals to White for Claremont and Webb for Swans. We're in for a tight one here at Claremont Oval. It's Swan Districts by a point at quarter time.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others, whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First, a network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
People telling me I wouldn't make it gave me all the motivation I needed. I was lucky enough to be picked up as one of the first ever AFLW players for the Eagles, and I just can't explain it. I can't explain the feeling. It was an absolute dream come true. How involved everyone is, how accepted and how equal the club is. Not even just this club, it's the footy community that's just a family, and that heartfelt feeling of, you know, you're here and you belong. I'm honestly so excited to get started, so bring on 2020.
It's a high ball.
Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia creeper, well, didn't want to keep her, just maybe for a while. You're the lady in a hurdle. Well, I feel that day.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Quarter time at Claremont Oval. WAFLW action from round 7. Claremont and Swan districts. There's the Tigers huddle with Bonza there just laying down a few messages for the rest of her midfield group there. She was very busy in the first term, one of the better players for Claremont. The Tigers trail by a point, 1-1-7. Swan Districts 1-2-8. Dave Lindsay alongside Clint Degebrot and Emily Johnson. Deggers and Jono, what did you make of the first term? Swan certainly had the better of it early, but really didn't put on the scoreboard.
I think exactly what we thought. It's a tight contest, and I think Swans will dominate play for most of the game, and then Claremont just taking their opportunities there.
Deggers, what was it about the Tigers that impressed you there? They were under siege early on, but only conceded the one goal.
I just circled Laura Pugh. Just doesn't get flustered at all at any stage. There's lots of ball going in there, and her decision making, just to hold in a handball here, feed one out at the right time just to draw a player like Kate Orme. I've liked her all year. As I said, Sinclair, McDonald, you mentioned her, Jono. They really combined really well, the back five, and they got a couple of good players. Valentini slotted back there, and I think Ella Smith's rolled back there too. So some really quality kicking. Like to see them not have to get the ball into their own half before they go forward. So maybe you saw Laura Pugh there in the midfield group there with Emily Bonza. So maybe she's going to go in there and play in a defensive sweepers role. So I really like the way Claremont structured on the ball. For the Swans, it was all run and stun from the kids, wasn't it? With Mickey Bowen going really well, and a couple of other players in there as well. Davison got off the chain. Gemma Horton and Kelly Gibson. Kelly Gibson would have had 4 or 5 possessions in the first 3 minutes. So really, really potent when it gets down there too. Really intent and aggression to run at the footy. Amazing thing about the Swans is, at the moment, is there's no Steph Kane, no Ash Sharp. There's a number of really good players that aren't out there, yet the side still looks really sharp.
Bit of light rain falling again here at Claremont Oval. Mentioned earlier that the forecast is for some heavy rain to come later today. Hopefully the majority of this match, if not the entire match, will be played before the heavy rain hits, and that way we might get a high quality 4 quarters of football. The Claremont huddle there as well.
I'm a fan of Lara Roden-Zimdale, and I'm just watching her build after some leg injuries last year that really, really stifled her progress. She couldn't work into anything last year. And just watching her each week, and I've been lucky enough to catch her over the last 3 games, and I'm starting to really like her presence around the stoppages. Runs around on her tiptoes, gets a lot of inside footy, uses her hands really well. It lacks a little penetration by foot, but makes great decisions, so you can sort of overlook some of those things. Really like the way she's building, and Chloe Colgate seems to have come to play today. Very, very highly skilled midfielder for Claremont, so some exciting things from the Tigers.
Absolutely. I think Chloe Colgate's one that's been around for a while, and she just hasn't quite found her 5th gear. We always rip into her a bit, always in 3rd gear, but she's laid a couple of heavy tackles and has used the ball really well today.
Swan's coaching staff making a dash through the rain to head back up to the commentary box, or the coach's box alongside our commentary box. Of course, Cara Donnellan looking after Swans this season. Andrew Di Loretto for Claremont.
Every player from Claremont that we just mentioned we liked is just walking off to the bench.
Saving them up.
Well done. Special comments.
So the Tigers, you can see their midfield quartet on screen at the moment heading back in.
Pew is going inside.
It's an interesting ruck duel. Mim Strom playing for Swans, her first game in WAFLW. How has she ended up here, Deg, with obviously being a South Fremantle player?
Yeah, South Fremantle don't have a league side in 2019, so the process has been to be able to permit these players from that competition into one of the 5 league sides. So Swans have been good enough to find a place for her in this game.
She played in the State 18s last weekend, Friday and Sunday victories over Queensland, along with a number of players that are out here this afternoon in both sides. White, the goal kicker for Claremont, slaps it into some space. Lewis feeds it off to Smith. She's caught, and that will be holding the ball. A couple of the 18 girls tangling there yet again. Brianna Hyde winning a free kick. Hyde, long down the line. Strom from behind over the top of Laurie. Laurie, though, good enough to keep it in front. Tracking it, Renee. Gives a hand pass away to a dangerous position. Swans will need to be clean here, and they are. Although the kick was smothered. Bonza doing some excellent work yet again. Feeds a hand pass back to Pugh. Off to Stewart. Got the long left boot, but she kicks into space in front of Dickey. Has some work to do opposed to Maguire. Maguire hassles her. Dickey slaps it further forward. The same pair go at it. Dickey does well. Spins a kick inboard, but in best position again is Brianna Hyde. And she will be able to clear here for Swans. Injury to Bella Lewis as she comes through the interchange gates. About to be replaced by Zadnik. Hopefully Lewis is okay. She throws herself into some dangerous positions from time to time. Nice mark from Anderson. Controlled that ball very well. Kicks inside again to Bowen. And then Bowen wants to switch play. Dangerous kick. Probably favours Claremont, although Herseg, no, she actually fights back well. I thought she was going to be outrun there by Baker. Now she falls on the footy. She's tackled by a couple of Swans, and the umpire decides that that's all okay, and they'll ball it up.
Swans really intent to get it to the open side of the ground and have a run. Michaela Bowen pulling the trigger there. Just didn't quite get in front of Baker.
Renee with the kick towards the wing. Good mark. Webb up in front. Took it well opposed to Goodwin Wissink. Moves it on quickly. Ball gets over the top. Going over. Couldn't take it for Claremont. Now Michaela Hyde wants to find Gibson with the hand pass. Garstone does well to get in the way. Keeping it alive, Davison goes wide with her kick. Houghton close to the line, can't take it. A little bit disappointed she couldn't finish that one off. And it'll be a throw in front of the apartments down there. You've got a couple of those, haven't you, Dick?
And if that's in my future, I thank you very much for pointing that out.
Jono's ones are on the wing.
The 3 beds up high on the wing.
I'm getting sledge from the producers as well. Thanks, Matt.
Throw in. Paris Laurie wins the ruck work. And nice work there in defence by Stewart just to help Baker over the line. We'll see another boundary throw in.
The opportunity to watch football all weekend, particularly live and local, would be a big part of buying one of these apartments for me.
It's interesting how many light complaints they've had though already in the 2 years that they've been up.
I think we said last time we were here, John, you surely couldn't be surprised by that, could you? You've bought an apartment alongside a footy ground that's been here for a long, long time. You'd like to think you'd know what to expect when you turn up. Ball in dispute at half forward here for Swans. Good strength again from Anderson. Pops a hand pass away. Swans retreating, but it'll work out okay. Nice little step there from Ferguson. Kicks it out in front of Strom. Jumped a bit early and then dropped it in the hands. Anderson tidies it up. Hand pass to Bowen. Quick hand pass off to Ralph. Interesting little chip pass. Doesn't clear the head of the Claremont player there in Colgate, who does well. Was it Valentini, I think? And we'll see another ball up inside Swans attacking 50.
Valentini looking much better at half back, impacting the game regularly. She's got such good feet, so nice move by Di Loretto to click her one spot behind where she's been playing in the midfield.
Houghton this time does well on the attack, gets boot to ball, but didn't really get a lot on it. And Goodwin Wissink comes across the front of the pack to take the mark. Sends her kick long, but it's not well directed. Straight down the throat of Ferguson. Too far out to score. She kicks off the back foot. And Goodwin Wissink does well, makes up for her error, does very nicely, diving in low and takes the mark. She'll look to switch as well, heading towards that outer side. Kick finds McDonald. It's an awkward ball drop, but certainly gets good distance on the kick and uses it beautifully to Leah Ursig. Wants to come inside on the 45-degree angle. Sets it up high. Clears the head of Laurie. And it works out nicely. Pugh at the back has the mark. Decides to go straight down the middle. Robertson not favoured by the kick, although she does okay to hassle Cole. Unable to take the mark there in defence for Swans. Good tackle applied as well by Dickey. And a ball up at centre half forward now for Claremont. So Sunshine breaks through.
Pugh had Ella Smith screaming for the ball on the wing there, but I'm glad she went forward because they forced the stoppage in the half forward line rather than on the wing.
There's Pugh again. Kicks in the Dickey direction. Maguire makes the spoil from behind. She's made a number of spoils in the early stages of this game and angles this one towards the boundary and will reset 50 metres out from the Claremont goal.
No surprise that she's so good with her timing with the spoil because she's so good with her timing with her leap to mark. So nice to see her doing it in the back half.
Tossed back into play. Hill does the ruck work, knocks it towards Anderson. Worried out of it by Leah Ursig. Anderson comes again and slaps it towards the line. Ursig might have fallen on the arm there of Anderson, who has not got up off the deck after that one. She's down holding that left arm. Hopefully she's okay.
Isabella Lewis still receiving treatment on the bench as well after that tackle. I think she laid the tackle prior to coming off.
Bonza. She was clean with the pickup. Somehow got boot to ball there. Ball almost fell out of her hands onto her left boot. White's taken high. Had her head down over the football to collect it and she was tackled. She'll get the free kick directly in front. She's got the distance within her on a dry day. Looks as though she's on a reasonably good patch of turf to kick. If she was a little bit further to the right, kicking straight out of the mud, which wouldn't help too much. She's kicked Claremont's only goal of the game so far. If she kicks truly here, the Tigers will have the lead for the first time today. Got a good long run up. Claremont's leading goal kicker for the season so far with 4 goals, and you can make that 5. Claremont have the lead. All thanks to Brooke White. She's got 2. Claremont by 5 points.
Michaela Bowen really, I think, unlucky there, but Brooke White played it really well. She just got her head over the ball, and the umpires are going to reward that every day.
Interesting choice with a helicopter punt there. Brooke White's a sweet kick of the footy normally.
That wasn't
the greatest contact at all, but she hit it hard and flat, didn't she, which needed to happen. Brookie won't mind me mentioning that. She still gets 6 in the book and her 5th for the season. Really, really good. I think you caught it, Jono, up the middle and then stoppage at top of 50, then forcing the ball in repeatedly. Really good work from the Tigers.
So it's a big game for Claremont. They're sitting second at the moment. East Fremantle lost to Subiaco yesterday in the other WAFLW match for this round. So East Fremantle currently sitting in 3rd spot, a game behind the Tigers. So a win here for Claremont would mean they've got a 2-game break over East Fremantle already. Stewart with the torpedo getting the clearance. Pugh with good pressure again. It's been impressive the first quarter and a bit. She soccers this one forward to the advantage of Dickey. Off a step, kicks inside looking for Robertson. Good spoil from Cole. Follow-up good from Swans as well. Clearing kick comes from Stannett towards the centre of the ground. Gibson couldn't take it. Valentini worried out of it. That's a very good tackle from Swan Districts coming from Davison. She follows up and wins the football. She's tackled immediately herself. Gibson spun in the tackle. Good enough to get a hand pass back to Anderson. Kicks over the top of the defence. It's a foot race. Needs to be clean here, McDonald. She is being hassled by Houghton. Loses the footy. Houghton comes again. Good little hand pass. Sets up Hyde. Michaela Hyde steadies and converts for Swans. Nicely worked from Swan Districts. They'd opened up that attacking 50. Put the Claremont defence under a lot of pressure and Swan Districts regained the lead.
Very clever from Michaela Hyde. Not many games she plays where she doesn't find a sausage in the front half. Sophie McDonald, little handball in front when probably risking giving a free kick away, getting that ball out of bounds, towards the top of 50, even 55. Far better option than having the ball inside 25. But that's okay. Horton provides a lot of pressure. I think if she was chasing me on the footy field, I'd probably just lay in a ball somewhere and let her go past.
Really enjoying that battle, actually. Sophie McDonald's proven her pace, and obviously we know Gemma Horton's quite fast, so it was a really good foot race for the ball, and then Gemma Horton just outsmarted her there a little bit and had the support from young Hyde as well.
Yeah, you got front and centre, Michaela, very clever.
Just saw Naira Anderson made her way to the bench, had a shoulder checked out after that little knock that she copped a few minutes ago. Hopefully she's okay. Going forward again, Swan Districts through Stannett, and the mark's been taken by the goal kicker, Michaela Hyde. Girls used to wear identical boots and identical hairstyles, didn't they? But they've changed that a little bit now, the Hyde twins. We haven't got the Urseg twins out there today for Claremont. There's twins all around the WAFLW competition. Just Leah Urseg out there for Claremont today. That's a nice mark from Smith on the wing. Seems to have settled into this game well. Kicks to Robertson. And Claremont have pushed all their forwards up as well. There's no one inside attacking 50 until Dickey pushes back there now. The kick goes towards Stewart. Stewart marks and can move this on quickly with that booming left foot of hers. Dickey with the lead. The kick will go in that direction. Maguire from behind to make the spoil. She does well again. Crumbs might fall nicely here for Pugh. Wants someone to run past for the hand pass. There was no one on. As a result, the hand pass went nowhere. Socket out nicely again by Bowen. Michaela Hyde has it. Great tackle. Came from Claremont in Urseg. Ball spills out again. Stannett, hurried kick. Houghton does very well. Good judgment. Prepared to throw herself back at the footy, not knowing what was behind her. Goes high up and under with her kick. Gibson, being held on to, will get a free kick. Very rarely loses her feet, Gibson.
It's very true of Stannett here too. And two occasions there, Stannett was just able to stand up and absorb the heat.
Gibson with the right boot, hooks her kick slightly, deep into the pocket, misses the target down there, and Webb will go out of play. Actually got a few spectators in the front apartment, bottom level. They've got a Go Tigers banner.
They certainly do.
About 6 ladies in there enjoying a champagne.
And none of them complaining about the lights on a Thursday night.
Oh, Houghton out of the ruck. Very strong. Sprays the kick wide. It'll bounce inside the field of play, and everyone will shuffle over for a boundary throw in the right forward pocket now. Looks like Bella Lewis is okay. She's standing on the interchange bench, ready to return to the field. Urseg will make way for her. Just heard a little sigh of relief from the under-18s coach sitting next to me there. Seen a couple of his girls come off with slight injury worries earlier today.
Wait for Nora Anderson to come back on the ground before he really breathes easy.
The 18s, of course, the trip to Queensland in a couple of weeks. Or socket out of mid-air by Gibson. McDonald reacted first. Took the mark for Claremont. So McDonald favouring the outer side with her kick. And really favouring Maguire in the end as it cleared the head of Dickey. Maguire worried out of it though by Dickey. Opened up some space for Colgate, who goes backwards with a 10-metre chip pass to Roden Zimdale. She's got a player on. It's Colgate who wanted it back. Bright red boots. Down the line with her kick. Looking for Dickey. Oh, Maguire, brilliant one-handed mark. Fantastic work. Just floated in from the side. Plucked it in the one hand. And then a little chip pass to Renee. So Swans by a point. It's about 5.5 minutes to go in this second quarter. Colgate standing up in front of the pack. Couldn't take the mark. Davison attacks it. Couldn't take the footy. They pile in on top now. And the umpire wants to penalise someone. It's going to be a Swans free kick, even though the Swans player had the football at the end when the whistle was blown. So you can work that one out if you can. Kick was very untidy. Gives Pugh every opportunity, although she decides to give it straight back. So Swans can reload. The hand pass goes backwards to Osborne. Ferguson wins it back again. Short pass misses the target. Very clean Bonza. Attacked it and then zigzagged away out of trouble. Lewis. Dangerous kick across the ground. Robertson needs a friendly bounce. She gets that. Confronted by Hyde. She's caught. Wonderful tackle. Brianna Hyde, her tackling today, her defensive pressure has been outstanding. Kicks high to a one-on-one. Houghton the target. Good spoil from McDonald. She stood up well under pressure today. So too Bonza. Drills the kick. Again searching for Robertson. Good pressure from Robertson. Edging the ball forward. Osborne wins it though. Now Ralph. She's tackled by White. Claremont players not holding the ball this time. They won't get it. There'll be a ball up. Broadcast side wing.
Game's gone up a cog. Love the physicality of these two teams too. Really working each other around the body. And the skills are good. The switching, driving. I'm going to get a couple of repeat stoppages here, I think, just as everyone tires with just 4 minutes to go. But love the structure around the ball here from both sides.
Paris Laurie opposed to Hill. Bonza again dashing out of the congestion. Long kick over the top of Metcalf. Boucher should be first back. Under pressure. Goes with the one hand. Now she picks it up. Tackled by Metcalf and thrown to ground. And the stoppage has been shifted 50 metres forward for Claremont.
just going back on your previous point, Glenn, it seems both teams are a bit more organised this quarter than they were in the first, and even in the second half of this quarter as well, just more clean ball movement and again, the tackling pressure stepped up a notch as well.
Good call.
Hill timed her body work perfectly on White. That's a fierce tackle from Claremont. I think it's Dickey laying that one, and we'll see another ball up. White might just have copped a bit of a cork there to the right thigh as Hill put the hip into it. She did the same thing there and won the tap. Robertson strong with the body again, knocked an opponent out the way. Couldn't get any clean football though. Osborne clearing kick. Just moves the congestion 15 metres forward. Interesting from Hill with the outside of the boot. Bonza. Taking the mark on her chest now. Bonza wants a player on the lead. Metcalf comes to it. Knocked away from her. Burrowing in is Anderson. She's okay, which is good to see. Boucher shanks the kick coming out of defence. Orm attacks it, slaps it forward. Needs some support. Osborne in the opposite direction holds things up for Swans. Gets the footy back herself. And then with a bit of composure, just spreads the kick to Ferguson. Ferguson's chip pass is effective, although Webb puts the ball to ground. Got time to recover, although she didn't have any composure. Swung the boot at it and missed it under the pressure of Dickey, who does well. Stands up in the tackle. Hand pass away. Valentini gives it off to Roden Zimdale. Chance late in the term here for Claremont, perhaps. The spoil on White was effective. Ferguson over the footy, tackled by Colgate. Umpire circling, he'll ball it up. 2 minutes on the clock.
Taylor Ferguson's wing positioning's really, really good, isn't it? She's lateral to the footy. She's 45s and she's behind. A couple of intercepts. Just love the way she sets up.
More tight and tough tackling. The umpire calls for another ball up. Where are the goals going to come from, Emily Johnson? Can Claremont find one here late?
I think a quick kick out of this stoppage or this series of stoppages and they'll get one, but looks like it's going the other way.
So Swans get the clearing kick. Back into the middle. Garstone slapped it. Gibson soccers it again. Swans have pushed all their players forward. Gibson will soccer again. It's a foot race. She soccers a third time. Orm can't quite keep up with her. Will Gibson soccer a goal from the top of the goal square as well? She does. It's not pretty, but it's effective. 4 soccer kicks from Kelly Gibson. And that's a goal that the Matildas could have done with last night. Swans extend their lead to 7 points with a minute to go in the first half.
I reckon she was just offside at the start with the flag up. No, fantastic work by Gibson. Just prepared to get that ball going forward. Realised how fast Orm is. Orm is a very quick player. And then just in the strength category, just outlasted Orm in the end. Rode it right the way through the goal, all the way to the fence. It looked like it was going to take a little off break into that goal post, but good enough. Michaela Hyde streaming in there too to give a bit of support.
The last of the soccer kicks, Jono, was the worst of the lot. She nailed the first 3, and then with the goals right in front of her, mistimed the last one, but it rolled straight enough.
I think all she had to do was get a toe on it, and it was in a goal, but very good run from Kelly Gibson.
Suggest the petrol tank was low.
She's a very clever, very smart footballer. Knew exactly what she needed to do there, and that gives Swans just that little bit of breathing space. We were speaking a minute and a half ago about where Claremont might be able to manufacture one with the ball locked in their attacking half, but instead, with time ticking away to half-time, it was Swans. And maybe one more last opportunity. Baker with the kick. Goes wide. Hyde will need to be very clean with this. She's not, and Claremont should be able to hold things up now as we tick down to this half-time siren. Swan Districts by 7 points at Claremont Oval. They're looking for their 3rd victory of the season. Would bring them to a 50% record and also drop Claremont to the same rating, 3-3, if the score remains as it is at the moment. Swans 3-2-20 lead Claremont 2-1-13 at half-time. Goals for Swans to Webb, Michaela Hyde and Gibson, while for Claremont, Brooke White has kicked both of theirs. And at half-time, it is Swan Districts by 7 points in round 7 of the WAFLW. We'll be back with some highlights and plenty to discuss after these messages.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. to be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First, a network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
It's a high ball.
Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her, just maybe for a while. You're lately in a hurdling. Well, I feel that day.
It's great to be back in the West. I've obviously been over in Sydney for a couple of years, and to be home in the nice weather and even better in the blue and gold is fantastic. Yeah, I was an inaugural part of the Giants squad in the first year, so been over there for the last 3 years and I guess experienced what it's like to be part of a new team and building something from the ground. So we've got time now, we're in the competition, we can build towards something really special, and I think that comes off the back of the first couple of years and just creating somewhere that everyone wants to be and play some good footy.
So it's half time here at Claremont Oval. Swan Districts lead it by 7 points at the long break, 3-2-20 to Claremont 2-1-13. Webb, Michaela Hyde and Gibson the goal kickers for Swan Districts, whereas Brooke White is the only goal kicker for Claremont, kicking both of their goals. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebrot and Emily Johnson, your commentators, as we look at some of the second quarter highlights on your screen at the moment. And after a pretty tight first quarter, we've sort of felt that Swans had the better of the first term without really hitting the scoreboard too much. They were able to find a couple of goals in the second term, and it's given them probably a lead that they deserve, Deggers and Jono.
Yes, we're both pointing at each other. Yes, we'll take it from there. Probably the difference between the two teams at the moment is I think the Swans are in that touch rugby style. They're trying to find holes the whole time. They're trying to get through the defence of Claremont. They're trying to shift the footy on the 45 and drop that longer handball in. Whereas I think the Tigers are much happier to come to the wall and just bomb the ball, like just surge the ball forward. So even I mentioned the first quarter with Davison, she got caught holding the ball, but she was looking into the hole. She was looking for the runner at 45. She was looking to be aggressive and go forward and attack. And Johnny, you made the call that instead of going to the 45 to Ella Smith on the wing here, Laura Pugh went down to 50, and that was when they actually looked more threatening, was when they attacked. So Swans just seem to be pretty keener to get into fifth gear and actually go, whereas Tigers just being a little bit more careful around the stoppages.
Yeah, I think a bit more control from Swan Districts as well. When they take a mark, they really, as you said, Deggers, hit that 45 and using the ball well. Claremont string a couple of kicks together and then kick it to a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1, and that's where it breaks down. You can't take the mark, and then all that hard work falls to pieces. And then, as we saw, Swans get a clearance out of a stoppage, big kick forward, Gibbo just on the run, moving the ball out and just beat Kate Orme in that foot race.
Changed lanes 3 times too to get it on the outside. Very impressive. I think you called it late in that quarter too, Jono, Reg, that the game was really well organised, particularly in the second part of that second quarter. Both teams really clear on what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive, sort of professional approach that second quarter. Very, impressive.
Is it fair to say Swans have more dangerous players up forward than Claremont to this stage of the game? I mean, Brooke White's the only person who's hit the scoreboard for Claremont, and none of their other forwards have really got into the game at all. I want
to see Brooke White in the old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup. So I want to see 5 come out of the 50 and get out of the way. I want to see Brooke White standing at 30, and I want Metcalf with 30 metres of space in front of her. So I think one out, Metcalf in the square with Boucher, getting Brooke as the next cog and the rest of the forwards up the ground. Nice chain to goal. I think Metcalf's a fantastic player on the lead. At the moment, there's not enough space for her to be creative, and she's been sucked into a wrestling game with Boucher, which I think she's played 285,000 games. So I don't think you're going to win that wrestle.
And Jono, I won't get Deggers to talk too much about the 18s girls, because obviously he's got a fair bit of input and impact on them and their program at the moment, but there's so much young talent out here. They played last week against Queensland and had wins on Friday and Sunday, and there's games in Queensland coming up in a week or two as well. But it must be so exciting for you personally as a female footy fan to see just the outstanding talent coming through in that younger age group.
Yeah, so exciting, and I've had the pleasure of coaching a few of them as well at Claremont and in-state programs. And the start of that second quarter, Claremont had 4 players that had been signed by AFL clubs, and Swans had 4 players that were average age of about 17. So it was really good. It was evenly matched, and obviously Michaela Bowen is a really exciting player, and there's a number of players that are coming through, and Mim Strom as well in our first league game is getting her hands on the ball, just got to finish off her hard work.
Yeah, there's plenty of young, exciting, up-and-coming superstars of the game out here this afternoon, which is good to see. Swans leading by 7 points at half-time, 3-2-20 to 2-1-13. The Kelly Gibson goal, we don't see goals like that too often, Deg, in any form of football, but to see someone as clever as that, realising what she needed to do and just soccing the ball forward 4 or 5 times was quite amazing. Now, thanks to Optus, we'll take a look at the inspirational story of Swan District's ruckman Nathan Blakely, who has recently overcome 2 serious ACL injuries to return to football with the support of his club and close-knit family.
Bunbury is where I grew up, and journey really started here at Bunbury Footy Club. Bunbury just really gets me back to my roots. I often see my grandma, see my parents, see some childhood friends, and I'm really proud to be a Bunbury person.
As a young fella, he just really tried hard. It was one of those things where I connected with Nathan a lot more. Got a really strong father-son relationship from that.
Swan District's identified that my younger brother Connor was half good at football, so when Greg Harding found out this young star Connor Blakely had an older brother, he may be worth looking at. So from that, he told me to come down to one of their pre-season trainings, and since then I've kind of slotted in at the club and enjoyed every minute of it. 2011, I had my first ACL injury.
He was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and someone just fell on him.
I was quite disappointed, but you took it in your stride.
All you want to do is just give him a hug, which obviously the family, we all did, and he got on with it, and yeah, away he went from there.
First bounce of 2016, incredible, devastating day because second ACL injury. I really didn't think I'd play football again. I was very upset, crying on the boundary.
I couldn't believe it, the bounce, and he was on the ground, and the first thought was, oh no, has it happened? And knew straight away it had. It was devastating.
It was indescribable, and it kind of, it makes me upset thinking about it now. So, yeah.
Time heals wounds, and that adversity I guess I got from the previous injuries, and knowing that I could overcome that injury allowed me to persist with my rehab. A lot of people, even to this day, think you're a bit silly playing with 2 ACLs, and the risk is there every week I step out onto the park. But that's what life is. It often shines brightly on the people that offer lots and have a crack, and that's what I'm doing. At the start of the 2018 season, I came down to Swans again, once again open arms, and they were very happy to have me back. And I had a fairly good year last year, and really happy that I have come back and hopefully move on and up in the 2019 season now.
Nathan Blakely there, what a story he is, and the family, with Connor, of course, playing for Fremantle as well. The WAFLW ladder, as it stands at the moment, which includes yesterday's match, Subiaco defeated East Fremantle 5-6, 36-2, 4-16, and as a result, they are 2 games clear on top of the table, although they've played 1 extra game over Claremont coming into today. The Tigers currently in second, East Fremantle in third, and Swans level on points percentage. A big difference between East Fremantle and Swans, of course. They're in third and fourth, and at this stage, Peel would be the team to miss the finals, but they're only a game out. So you can see how important today's game is between Claremont and Swans. A win either way would have a big impact, John Oakley, as the 2 teams look at this ladder right now.
Yeah, it's anyone's game, and having Claremont, East Fremantle and Swans within a game of each other is very exciting. And I think Deggers mentioned it last week, is we're starting to see the ladder take shape now as we get deeper into the season, but it's good to see that it's close and there's no clear front runners as well.
Of course, Claremont defeated Subiaco earlier this season. They've had wins over Subiaco, East Fremantle and Peel. Swans' 2 wins have come over Claremont and Peel And the Thunder, of course, had their first win last week against Swan District. So they're a team that's building Deggers at the moment, the Thunder, and they'll trouble all 4 other teams over the course of the rest of the season.
Yeah, they're just building on their mojo at the moment. Got Cassie Davison back in full flight, and that's good for that footy club and for West Coast as well. And they're just starting to get some experience in that huge experience in with their youth. They're just lifting their age profile. Subiaco just lowering their age profiles as we just work out this competition. Really, really impressed with what Subiaco's done so far. First, I reckon, just my opinion, first to adjust to the 16-a-side comp. And first to adjust to making some list management adjustments to get their team balance right.
So Swan District's lead today's game by 7 points at half-time, 3-2-20 to 2-1-13. We'll take a break here on our WAFLW stream and be back with the second half action shortly.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First. A network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
There's a high ball.
Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her just maybe for a while. You're the lady in a hurdling. Well, I feel that day.
It's great to be back in the West. I've obviously been over in Sydney for a couple of years, and to be home in the nice weather and even better in the blue and gold is fantastic. Yeah, I was an inaugural part of the Giants squad in the first year, so been over there for the last 3 years and I guess experienced what it's like to be part of a new team and building something from the ground. So we've got time now, we're in the competition, we can build towards something really special, and I think that comes off the back of the first couple of years and just creating somewhere that everyone wants to be and play some good footy.
Welcome back to Claremont Oval, half-time. Claremont 2-1-13, trailing Swans 3-2-20. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebright and Emily Johnson, your commentary team here this afternoon on an overcast afternoon here in Perth. We've had a couple of light showers, a lot of bright sunshine at various times, and at the moment the clouds have taken over for the moment as well as the umpires are going through their preparations for the second half today. Umpires out there, Caelan Gibson and Kurt Miller, the two men in charge, and these Swan Districts just making their way out. Led out by Kelly Gibson, who kicked a freak goal in the second quarter, socking the ball 4 times to really move the ball from the centre of the ground to the goal square and score a goal. She's called her team into a huddle, and it's her 100th game as well. Emily Johnson, she's been a stalwart of WA football for a long, long time now. Yeah,
I remember playing against her when she probably would have been about 14, and she was tiny, but she was full of energy, and it's good to see her doing so well. And obviously playing for Adelaide, Freo, and now starting with the West Coast Eagles, so it's good to see her get her 100 games in. Even at 14, she demanded the footy when she was in the right spot. It's been a feature of her game, is demanding the football when she's in great positions. Premiership player, of course, in the first season of the AFLW, and mentioned today, Deg, her ability to keep her feet. I've seen a lot of players at all levels of football go to ground far too easily, but she refuses to do so. She stands up in tackles, she rides bumps, she's never out of the contest.
I think that's. I was talking off air about instinctive footy, how much more instinctive the players have been this year. Like it's been the handball release and then the instant block. It's been just the little shepherds and the little in the way stuff that people have done. Even in the Gibson goal, Naomi Baker on this side ran across and just got in the way of a would-be chaser. It seems to be much more instinctive. I think with Gibson has been doing it for so long. You saw Stannett do it there with the soccer background. That kind of instinctive footy play is much more prevalent and will become much more prevalent, of course, and you can learn off a player like Gibson who just won't lose her feet.
I think M. Bonza as well, both of them are both obviously physically very, very fit, and that shows a lot. They've got strong cores, and you see it in Bella Lewis a bit as well. She doesn't have a huge frame, but she is strong in the core. That's a trampoline background. I think that helps her, and I think when she does fall over, it's when she decides to fall over. But if she stands up, she can stand up.
Well, I can vouch for how hard Bella Lewis works in the gym as well. So they're committed to their gym work, committed to the functional strength, and I think we're seeing the benefits of that in terms of Touchwood continuing to be relatively injury-free. And, of course, I'm not just talking about the 18s there, but the players are going in, they're making good, solid contact, they're prepared for it, and they're able to absorb it. So we haven't had the collision injuries so far, and again, touch wood, but we haven't had the collision injuries that were so prevalent in AFLW Season 1. I think it's a hats off to the way the clubs are preparing their players for this competition.
Claremont quite late back out onto the field, and I think I only noticed 4 players come back to the bench, which would suggest that there could be an injury for Claremont. Maybe someone is out of the game already. Swan's only playing with the 4 on the bench today, just the 20 players in their squad. Claremont with the full complement of 21. But there's only 3 Claremont players running up and down the boundary at the moment doing a warm-up, and I think there's one other under the tent, the marquees that are set up on the bench for the players. So I venture to suggest there could be a player who might be out of the game for Claremont. We'll see what we can work out, see who's missing out there for the Tigers. Might have just levelled up the numbers. So the umpire holds the ball aloft to start the second half. It's Swans by 7 points. Laurie wins in the ruck, does it nicely, down towards Stewart. Kicks it. Wobbly old torpedo, inside 50. Robertson gathers the footy. She's tackled and driven into the ground by Ralph. We'll see a ball up directly in front of the Claremont goal, about 45 metres out. Umpire puts the ball into motion. Over the top comes Strom. Such an athletic leap on her. Wins the tap, but she might get a second opportunity to show what she can do here. Zadnik was well tackled.
So they've set up the kite structure here with Alana Dickey as the deepest forward rather than Metcalf. Metcalf up at this stoppage.
Zadnik makes earlier body contact this time. Didn't want to let Strom leap at the footy. Ralph with the clearing kick for Swan Districts. Nicely worked there from the black and whites. Attacking the ball hard was Webb. Couldn't take possession though. Stewart does. Spins onto that left boot yet again. High kick. Lewis beaten to it by Osborne. Read it better. Attacked the footy hard, made the spoil. Robertson a little soccer kick to give herself a bit of time to collect the footy. Hand pass back to Leah Urseg. Her kick smothered. Baker's down and hurt at the moment. Anderson collects the footy for the black and whites. Hands it back to Strom. Kicks into the middle of the ground. It's blocked by Goodwin Wissink, but the rebound comes back to Webb for Swans. They kick to a 2-on-2 at half forward. Leading the race is McDonald. She's got Houghton chasing her. It's not a great position to be in, but she was very calm. Gave the hand pass away to Garstone. Kicks a high ball. Anderson makes the spoil on Colgate. In comes Laurie. She stands up well in the tackle. Gets a hand pass away. Colgate now kick into the middle of the ground. Important ball to be won. Metcalf takes it. Boucher has her. Interesting hand pass away. Stewart sliding in, tackled front on by Boucher, and she's wrapped up. We'll see a ball up as Baker is being assisted by a couple of trainers off the ground, not putting any weight on her left leg, which is a bit of a worry for Swan Districts. There's Claremont trying to barge her way through and unable to get an effective possession away with Smith. So a free kick to Anderson, holding the ball. Yet again, as we mentioned a number of times today, a couple of WA under 18 players having a crack against each other. Another one there in Bowen, slapping it forward towards Webb. Anderson will get another opportunity here for Swans, being tackled by Smith again. They've reversed the roles this time. Bowen with the kick for Swannies. Towards the top of the 50. Houghton crashed through. Took out a Claremont player in the process. Might have hurt herself more than her opponent, as it turns out. Gibson attacking the football. Swings onto that right boot, straightened up beautifully. Open goal square, needs a nice bounce, and she gets it. And she deserved it too. Fantastic football. She's got a couple, Gibson, and she's threatening to blow this game open for Swans. They now double Claremont's score. 13 points is their lead.
I was going to say Chloe Colgate had the chance to just to nip that in the bud there, but went the bump instead of the embrace, and Gibson good enough to know where the goals are at all times. I was going to say, when you brought up Kelly Gibson at half-time, Reg, that probably ball in hand, one of the most skillful players in this competition. It's just a matter of making sure that she's getting that ball in her hand as often as she possibly can. Today, she's up and about, but why wouldn't you be? Big bounce back from last week's loss, 100th game for her. She's leading the team today, so lovely finish.
Yeah, excellent goal there from Gibson. Claremont need to respond. Swans have kicked the last 3 goals in the game. Anderson trying to break her way out of the middle, tackled by Stewart. Bonza takes it. Hand pass to the feet of Smith, who was good enough to collect. Awkward left-footed kick, but it was effective enough. Laurie taps it to her own advantage and then gains the football herself. Kicks towards Dickey. The spoil comes again from Maguire. Laurie tries to soccer it off the deck. Collecting it now, Robertson. Hand pass back to Smith. 51 metres out. Kicks towards Dickey. Just slipped through her fingertips. Would have loved to have held on to that one opposed to Hyde. Zadnik has it. She's tackled. Thrown to ground. And Claremont will get a stoppage in front of their goal mouth. Couple of half chances there for Claremont, but no one able to take the mark and set up a set shot for goal. Strom wins in the ruck. Anderson does well. Running against the tide. Hooks the kick, but straight to a dangerous area. And it's very dangerous when Stewart is standing there unmarked. And the left footer can go back and have a shot virtually directly in front, and the distance is not beyond her.
That's a coach killer, getting that ball on the 45 there, and you can hear the Swans box next door. Has to be the buy, has to almost bounce. Well, it was better out of bounds on the full than at 45, Jasmine Stewart.
Stewart hasn't hit it sweet. Didn't get it spinning right, but she got the distance, no problems at all, and it went dead straight. So Claremont get the one they needed to bring themselves back into the contest again. They trail by 7.
Sorry, should have let talk a bit more about that goal approach, but just, I know how frustrating it is as a coach to have your players kick it to that angle that the forwards want the ball on. So if a forward could pick a place to have a shot from, they'd probably draw a little line from goal to there as a right footer, left footer on the other side, whereas the defensive ball needs to be right out here in the shadows, if not kicking it over the fence.
Just maybe a little inexperience there, and
lovely sweep on the footy.
It was. It's just that natural instinct and just panic kick, and just tried to get it out of there without thinking. Get it on that boundary side and see if you can get a out of bounds and a stoppage.
Lovely kick too from Stewart.
So underway again. Claremont with a good response there after the early goal to Gibson. Long kick forward by Bonza to a contest at half forward. Dickey attacks it hard, gets a hand pass away. Stewart swoops on it again. Sends a hand pass into some space. Bella Lewis wants this footy. If she can't get it, she'll become the tackler. Robertson does the same thing. Wraps up her opponent, and Claremont have got a bit of spark for the moment.
A couple of centre clearances from M. Bonza's been really valuable here.
Zadnik crashes into Hill. Neither touched the football. Lewis applies a tackle on Osborne. They'll be asked to do it once more. Umpire puts the ball into motion. Zadnik comes flying through. Good swoop this time from Bonza. Kicks into space. This one will run out of space in the end. And it's a boundary throw in left forward pocket. Right in front of that, we'll call it the members' apartment. There's about 10 ladies there enjoying a champagne and some cheese, perhaps.
That's grown over there. Looks like good fun.
Maybe everyone who owns an apartment on that bottom level invited across. Zadnik, nice work. Hand pass to Lewis. Off to Dickey. Needed to get boot to ball quickly. She couldn't do so. The tackle from Stannett saved the day. Maguire with the clearance. Sends it outside the defensive arc. Good pressure again from Houghton. Swooping in Davison. Hand passes to her own advantage. Follows up. Now she's tackled by 2 Tigers. And the danger's been averted for Swan Districts.
Bella Lewis probably had a chance to have a shot there rather than giving off that extra hand pass.
Laurie used the body well in the ruck. Stewart slapped the footy. Pugh comes in strongly, but she was beaten to it there by Renee. Kick into the middle of the ground. Holwell just paddling, knocking it well. Gibson will try to work her way through the traffic. Beats a couple. Now feeds the hand pass off. Kick from Stannett goes high up and under towards centre half forward again. They've cleared it over the top of the defence. Foot race to the back. Webb needs to pick it up cleanly. Does, and then feeds a hand pass back to Ferguson. She wanted to go backwards as the ball was bouncing towards her. Needed to come towards the footy. Bowen slaps it inside. Laurie bends over, collects, tackled by 2 Swans. We'll see another ball up, but Swans have moved into their attacking half.
probably see Swans with a few more numbers around the ball here. Claremont seem to have 2 loose. Oh, no, they've corrected it now. They did have 2 loose in their back line there, just protecting space.
Good attack on the ball from McDonald on this occasion, but it's gone over the top. Webb, long kick. Goal square's open. Oh, it took an off break. Needed the arm ball. Too much turn on it in the end and a behind only, so Swans now lead by 8 points.
A bit of moisture in the surface, so it is taking some spin, the deck today.
You would have thought it might skid on for her.
Not enough water. Nice little puddle you're after out there.
A little splash and go straight. Nice collect from Orm, down low. Had the ball spinning nicely, but didn't get the distance to get it to Lewis. Bowen shrugs the tackle. Hooks the kick across the body. Gets Swans back inside their attacking 50. A little paddle towards Orm was good. High kick to the wing. Claremont have the numbers here. Lewis has gone early. Ball gets over the back. She's favoured by it now. Breaks a tackle. About to be caught. Wonderful chase from Cole. Earns her side a free kick. They'll have a chat about that at state training during the week.
Monday in the gym. I reckon Bella's going to have to carry Coley's drinks.
Good kick as well to the advantage of Strom. He's done some nice things at times again, Mim Strom. Kicks to half forward. Houghton did well. Protected the drop zone with her body. Took it on the chest. Springs to her feet quickly. Long towards full forward. At the back. Guess who? Gibson's got it again. Good kick from Houghton. Just got it over the top of the defender, and now Gibson can have a shot for her third.
It's like she's watching a movie of a book she'd already read. I reckon Gibson then. She knew exactly what her teammates were going to do, and how good was Horton getting to the front of that contest there and taking it in front of her face.
So it's Gibson on the angle. Kicked the last goal of the second quarter and the first goal of the third. She's the most dangerous forward on the ground, and she's got 3. Game number 100 for Kelly Gibson. And it's turning into quite some celebration for her, and Swan Districts now lead by 14 points.
Getting slightly regular visits from the president of the Joe just coming in to say Mim Strom got her hands on a footy out here, and then she was just acknowledging how good a mark it was from Gemma Horton as well, which was terrific. And Gibson. So nice little transition of play. And just watching Fee Boucher continue to put heaps of work into Chloe Metcalf. I just can't help but feel, Jono, so many people play Fee Boucher's game.
Yeah, I think she does. She'll get into the head of the opposition, and she's got a bigger body, and she uses it quite well. She came up the ground a bit, laid a heavy tackle, and then she just works to get back. And Chloe Metcalf is being tested today. She hasn't had the ball on her terms at all, so be interesting to see how she responds for the rest of the game.
Some great ruck work that time there from Strom down to Anderson, but she was stripped of the footy. So a free kick to Claremont. Pugh doesn't direct this kick well. Ferguson reading it nicely.
Just gets into those positions really well early, Ferguson.
Short pass to Renee. She seems to have the job on Stewart. Beaten by the bounce on this occasion. Stewart with the kick. Osborne wanted front position. Earned it well. And wins their own football. Interesting hand pass. Thought it might have been a throw. No free kick. Anderson shrugs a tackle, gains 20 metres with her bouncing kick. Orm has the ball slipped from her hands as well in a tackle. And Pozza put the whistle away for the moment. Urseg, kick was charged down by Stannett. Came straight back to Urseg. Gave it off to Goranova. Well done, Robertson. Wanted that football more than anyone else. Little dish off to Stewart, high kick. Maguire can't take it this time. Out the back is Metcalf. She's beaten to the football by Osborne. Applies a good tackle though, and earns a stoppage for Claremont, 35 out directly in front.
Good from Metcalf there, getting herself into the play, not waiting for the ball to come to her.
Ruck work done by White. She's beaten by Strom comfortably. Good attack on the football from Roden Zimdale. Pops a hand pass backwards. Hyde was in the way. Just tapped it towards Osborne. Kick didn't gain any great distance there. Seems to be plenty of Claremont jumpers around this football. Pugh wins it. Bounce kick goes straight back to Osborne. Kick was touched in flight. Hyde had 2 attempts at the soccer kick. Didn't make much contact with either of them. Orm with the hand pass. Garstone does well. Hand pass back to Valentini, who was in some space. Kick was touched off the boot. Comes to Stewart. Penetrating left-footed kick again. And Robertson marks on her chest. Is there a lead coming towards the kicker here for Claremont? Metcalf does come down the channel. That's ignored. Kicks towards the top of the 50. Offhand, Zadnik has it. Gets a hand pass away. Smith lost the football. Rain starts to fall as the soccer kick from Webb goes into space. She chases it hard. First to get there, though, is Pugh, and Claremont reload. Roden Zimdale High kick to the pocket. White gets rid of Boucher. Gets back onto the footy. Tries to sidestep an opponent. Hand pass to Zadnik. She's caught quickly. And there will be another ball up in that right forward pocket for Claremont.
Zadnik's been a really handy player for Claremont this year, going into the ruck and forward and back. And just she seems to be providing all the answers to the problems that arise at Claremont. So she's having a good year.
Does well there. Used her body to open up some space for herself to pick up the footy. But then she was shut down pretty quickly. Field umpire puts the ball into motion once more. Strom wins in the ruck. Colgate tries to give a Shepherd. In the end, the umpire spotted a high tackle going to Roden Zimdale. Should be too far out to score. Player on the mark about 40 to 45 metres out from goal. Swans with plenty of numbers back, filling up the space. Roden Zimdale kicks to the pocket. Clears the leading player at the back. Osborne had a couple of bites, couldn't take the mark. Robertson with the tackle. And Claremont are managing to hold it inside their attacking 50 for a long period. They'd love a goal from this. Umpire waiting for the nomination. Strom wins again. Just knocks it into space. Colgate gives it back by hand. Roden Zimdale kicks it straight back to the same spot. White has it knocked away from her by Strom. Osborne with a high kick. Swans player has been knocked over by a couple of Tigers. And it'll be Houghton who'll get the free kick. And that will relieve the pressure for Swans. And unfortunately for the Tigers, they're unable to find a goal from that 2 or 3 minutes of forward play that they had. Houghton off to Bowen. Kick's gone wide. Did it come off the fingertips of Anderson? I think it did. No. The field umpire says that's a free kick, out without being touched.
Interesting there with Claremont. They had the ball in their forward line for so long, but there was never really a shot on goal. It was all just passes and handballing around. So would like to see them take more shots on goal if they're 30 out.
Maguire running back towards her own goal under pressure. Can't take possession cleanly. We'll see yet another stoppage here, I think, for Claremont. This is where the advantage egg of Mim Strom has been so important. She's been winning these ruck taps. She won't be here for this one. What can Paris Laurie come up with? Umpire tosses in the air. Laurie down towards White. Couldn't handle the football. Osborne's kick partly smothered. Stewart's dangerous in this position. Can't get the bend on it. She got a torpedo instead by accident. It's out of bounds on the full.
Kelly Gibson was just able to close that space and put a ton of pressure on her as she hit that footy, and I think it changed the ball drop quite significantly. Great defensive pressure.
So Maguire to kick it back into play. 2.5 minutes to go in this third quarter. The game itself probably needs a Claremont goal before three-quarter time to keep it nice and tight. Urseg wants the same thing. Kicks it inside the arc. It goes through the legs of White. Osborne, as always, strong in defence. Tumbles the kick down the line. Finds Michaela Hyde. She kicks to the wing. Claremont have set up well. Orm has it. Pumps it back towards the top of the 50. Laurie has to fly from behind. Makes the spoil. Osborne's there yet again. Rebounding off half back. Untidy kick. Garstone did nicely. Won it down towards McDonald. High kick. It's all Swans. Gibson standing up. Takes the mark. And then just buys a little bit of time for her teammates to settle. Kicks beautifully towards the lead of Anderson on the wing. It's all one-on-ones forward of the play. So Anderson's happy to hold it up. She has Bowen inside calling for the football. That's ignored. Instead, she kicks high. Davison had an opportunity, knocked away from her. The hand pass from Garstone was poor. Straight to Anderson. Good use this time as she comes inboard. Ferguson just forward of the centre. Kicks to the leading player, Webb. Clears her head. At the back is Valentini, beaten by a bad bounce. Got time to recover, though. Hand passes away to Orm. Claremont have just over a minute to swing the ball down the length of the ground. Zadnik has it. She wants to go back and take her kick. White gives a long lead. The kick's poorly directed. It hits Osborne as if she was on the lead from half forward.
Osborne's had a sensational minute.
Comes inside with her kick to Gibson. She'll go long. Anderson at the back of the pack. Comes off the hands of Pugh. Urseg with a high kick towards the wing position. Hyde is there. This is Brianna this time. Wants to take on Lewis. She's caught. Just got a hand pass away. Bowen being hassled by Pugh. In comes Lewis. Great tackle from Bowen. Wraps her up. They fight a draw. And we'll have a ball up right beneath our broadcast position.
Really good from Lewis too. Low and hard at that football. And Bowen read the cues very well to trap her in.
Bowen Clever with a little knockback towards Maguire. Needs to pick this up under pressure from Bonza. Good use of her body. Lewis gets it forward. Osborne in the way once more. Just peeling off her player. She's held things up 3 or 4 times late in this third quarter for Swans. And as a result, Swans will go to three-quarter time with a 14-point lead here at Claremont Oval. Good quarter from Swan Districts. They kicked 2 goals to 1, as they did in the second term, and they lead it by 14 points at three-quarter time. Kelly Gibson has kicked 3. She's kicked Swan District's last 3 goals in this game. Webb and Michaela Hyde have also kicked 1 for Swan Districts, while for Claremont, White has 2 goals, and Jasmine Stewart kicked a good set shot in that third quarter as well. 1 quarter to go. Swans lead it by 14 points. Back with final quarter action shortly.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Nature knows it's better to be part of a group than out on your own. To be surrounded by others whose sole purpose is to keep you safe and well. At Bupa, we call it Members First. A network of thousands of healthcare providers, all there for you. Search Bupa Members First.
It's a high ball.
Don't you diddle, don't you daddle, you better skedaddle. You need to run for your life. Well, like Virginia Creeper, well, didn't want to keep her just maybe for a while. You're lately in a hurdle. Well, I feel that day.
It's great to be back in the West. I've obviously been over in Sydney for a couple of years, and to be home in the nice weather and even better in the blue and gold is fantastic. Yeah, I was an inaugural part of the Giants squad in the first year, so been over there for the last 3 years and I guess experienced what it's like to be part of a new team and building something from the ground. So we've got time now, we're in the competition, we can build towards something really special, and I think that comes off the back of the first couple of years and just creating somewhere that everyone wants to be and play some good footy.
Three-quarter time at Claremont Oval. WAFLW round 7. The Tigers hosting Swan Districts. And Swans leading it by 14 points. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebrot and Emily Johnson in commentary with you this afternoon. And Swan Districts with 2 goals to 1 in that third quarter. We see some of the highlights from the third term. And yet again, Kelly Gibson, the most dangerous forward on the ground, Jono. And every time the ball goes down towards Swans attacking 50, I think everyone's eyes are cast towards Kelly Gibson.
Yeah, she started quiet. I think she started in the middle at the start of the game, and then as soon as they put her up forward, she's given 3 goals, and it's just so dangerous as well. She uses her body well. She picks the gaps well. I think that's her rugby sevens background, and has been able to put it on the scoreboard as well.
And Deggers, in contrast, Claremont's forward line, apart from Brooke White on a couple of occasions, it's been pretty much non-existent. There's no real targets, and there's no one at the fall of the ball either providing any opportunities to score.
They've got that length of the ground beautifully set up. They've got Kate Om in that anchor position, and they've got they fan out so well U-shaped behind the footy. But you're exactly right. Once they've got the length of the ground organised, they get too close together as a group of forwards, I think. And I think they've got to have a stretch target, someone to goal. They've got to have 40 metres of space, and they've got to have a couple of people running to turn up. So I think for Claremont, they have got the long ball in. There's just too many people inside that forward 50 for what they want to do. They don't have that Kelly Gibson or a Gemma Horton who's going to do something against the grain.
And John, it's a contrasting styles because we've seen Swans so often push their forwards up high and then get the ball over the back into the old Pagans paddock, whereas Claremont are holding some numbers back there, but it's not working for them at all.
No, and as Deggers said, I think they're holding maybe too many numbers back, and it's just clogging up, not allowing Chloe Metcalf to have a clear lead at the ball. And if then you can get Bella Lewis to just turn around and front the contest, she gets the crumbs and maybe there's something. But I think Swans have played it really well, and Claremont need to find something in this last quarter in their forward line just to find a couple of goals and put pressure on Swans.
Looking at the Swans huddle there as well as they get their final instructions. Bright sunshine again here at Claremont Oval. We're hoping it stays dry even for after the game. Deg, we're going to get to a train and head off to the State of Origin, so hopefully it stays dry for us.
Yep, there's no doubt that I'm quite renowned for my fear of getting wet. The line is don't get paid enough. That was stolen from Mark Winnett. Don't get paid enough to get wet. No, it also helps the skills. That I like what both the sides are bringing. Swans are obviously just a bit more potent up forward, but they're bringing a really attempted a highly skilled game. The only errors that have been made is because of the fierce pressure that both sides are putting on each other. So very entertaining game to watch. As you said, if Claremont had kicked a goal or two, it sparks a real interest in the game as we go towards the conclusion.
Swans haven't been involved in a close game this year. You mentioned earlier that their closest match was a 29-point loss in round one. It's currently set at 14 points today, so if Claremont could kick a goal or two early, it might test Swans to see how they stand up under pressure. Claremont, in contrast, all of their wins have been very, very close matches. Their wins have been margins of 3, 7 and 1 point. So
and they've ridden them out. Each one's just going to call out the Swan District's footy club here under Cara Donlan and her crew. They've thrown state 18s. They've thrown two 17-year-olds and two 17-year-olds and two 18-year-olds into the ruck to start this duel. So Mim Strom from the South Fremantle Football Club, Bianca Webb from West Perth, and Michaela Bowen, homegrown here at the Swans, and Naira Anderson. So fantastic responsibility given to a group of young players.
And then on one wing is Brianna Hyde, the other one Ferguson. So there's not a lot of experience going through that centre line at the moment. Bonza wins it for Claremont forward towards Laurie. Tried to knock it forward, soccer it forward, do anything she could to make some ground. Lewis standing up under pressure, under tackle again. Gets a shove out of the way from Boucher. And we'll see another ball up just inside the arc for Claremont. Strom to do the ruck work again for Swans. She'll win her own footy in the end and feed it back to Bowen. Didn't make any distance with the kick, and Stewart, as she's done a couple of times today, intercept marks on those clearing kicks. Dickey leads in one direction. The other lead comes from Laurie. Couldn't finish it off. Lewis with a hand pass towards the player there in Laurie. Dishes off to Colgate. Squeezes a kick goalward, but it's just away to the right. And that perfect start for Claremont goes begging behind only.
So close to perfect structure there. Just a bit more distance between the players there. Just buys a bit more time. And perhaps Bella Lewis, as she gets more experience, takes a shot there.
Could have almost backed herself. Osborne runs out of the square. Kicks for distance. Boucher collects, hand passes away to Brianna Hyde under pressure. Good tackle from Bonza. Umpire says the tackle lingered after the ball either spilled out or a hand pass was given. I assume it could only have been a hand pass, otherwise could have been Bonza getting the free kick. Hyde takes it away for Swans, kicks to a sister with some protection from Houghton, takes the mark well. This is Michaela to the wing. Good attack on the footy from Goodwin Wissink. Floated through the air and took the mark at the second bite. Comes inside with the left boot. There's a couple of Tigers there. Colgate stretches, couldn't take it. Urseg dishes it back to Colgate. Across the body. Kicks to attacking 50. Dickey at the back. Just put it to ground. Brianna Hyde, hand pass to Boucher. Off to Ralph. Now Maguire. She's tackled, loses the football. Claremont have done that well throughout today. Their forward pressure has been good. Been able to lock the ball inside their attacking 50 for long periods. Just need to generate a shot now if they can. Laurie in the ruck. Dickey sweating on the football. Knocks it goalward. Good tackle then. Ball comes out to Anderson of Swans. Clearing kick. Bonza couldn't quite finish it off. Wins her own football though. Gives a hand pass away. Smith from 45 towards the pocket. Standing up in front, Boucher. Couldn't take it but held it up well enough. Osborne squeezes a kick and Strom, first to react, takes the mark.
The Osborne's been clear and important down there throughout the last quarter and a bit.
High kick, fist from Garstone, brings it to the front. Bonza just pushed off it. Nice work there from Ralph. She stands up in the tackle, just gets a toe to the football. Well done, Roden Zimdale. Fired a hand pass to Stewart. It bounced away from her. Roden Zimdale got it back, but Swans clear through Ralph towards the wing. Again, a couple of 18s girls go at it against each other. Goranova and Michaela Hyde. And Michaela Hyde fights a good draw there to hold things up, and everyone shifts forward for a ball up on the wing. Strom leaps highest in the ruck again. Valentini in the opposite direction collects. Sends the kick forward and a good catch in the hands taken by Colgate. Robertson gives a lead. Goes longer than that towards Laurie. Maguire makes a spoil. Laurie continues on. Robertson providing some support with a little toe poke up the line. Osborne again coming the opposite direction. Hand passes it away to Maguire, and that hurried kick falls for Bowen. Osborne's last 15 minutes has been as good as anyone's played all throughout today. Saved a number of opportunities for Claremont. Great tackle from Swan Districts. And the free kick will go the way of Angelique Stannett. Stannett now, long towards half forward. Ball spills over the back. Hyde has it. Hand pass to Houghton. They won't catch her. As long as she can bounce it back to herself each time here. This is a goal coming up for Swan Districts. Gets to the top of the goal square and bangs it through. Swans lead it by 19 points, and yet again, opening that space up inside 50s paid full dividends for the visitors.
It was just in the end, it was almost a volleyball sort of set up in that last scrimmage, and Swans owned the length of the game. So Claremont just, after all that hard work of pressing up forward, but just such a hair slower than Swans to set up with that ball going forward, and Gemma Houghton very, very hard to catch as she on her way to goal. But Claremont deserved a little more. Yeah,
I think so. They just can't seem to find a shot. They're getting it there, but they just not getting on the boot for that final shot.
I'd love to see Bella Lewis have a shot there. She's such a clever player, got nice clean feet. She knows where the goals are. Probably just trying to, as a young player, probably trying to play a team brand of footy. But I reckon you're a small forward. You're allowed to snap, aren't you?
A lot of small forwards would have. Hill wins in the ruck again. Bowen works her way through. Stannett, chance. Hyde was there as well. Goranova coming the opposite direction. Not a great kick. It scrubbles its way along the ground. Dickey, a little fumble, collects and then hand passes straight to an opponent in Holwell. She's slung in the tackle, gets the hand pass backwards. Interesting kick from Renee for space on the wing. Holwell needs to get there first. She can't. Roden Zimdale does well. Hand pass to Orm, and she'd like that kick again.
The best thing about that kick is that there's plenty of time to set up now. So if you're going to get it out of bounds, it's such a better kick.
You may as well put it in the grandstand.
It is in the grandstand. And of course, Claremont can now get set up and they can set their anchor again.
So the free kick back into play from Holwell. That wasn't great either. Roden Zimdale's kick. Oh, back with the flight. Courageous mark. Well done from Renee. The Swans have had the answers. Have repelled well throughout this second half in particular. Goodwin Wissant collects. Great tackle from Gibson. She'll be rewarded.
Wonderful tackle. Nothing wrong with what Amber Goodwin Wissant do when they're trying to drive her legs in that 45 and test Gibbo.
She was up to the challenge, and the kick's pretty good too. Hyde comes out and traps it on the bounce. Just need an extra metre, would have hit her on the chest. Little hand pass comes out. Under pressure, Claremont unable to get a good hand pass away there, Valentini. And now they'll have their defence tested. A ball up directly in front of Swan's goal. Gibson does the ruck work this time. She's beaten by Zadnik. Stewart with a clearing kick. Clears the wall that was set up by Swans as well. Osborne in the opposite direction. Pops it out towards her teammate in Hill. Now Holwell with the left boot. Orms read this well. Gibson gets a hand to it in front though. Valentini this time a hand pass to a player who I reckon she was being tackled before the ball got to her.
It's going to be an angry email on Monday from Sarah Garstone saying, I am guarding Gemma Houghton. Please do not handball me the ball.
Houghton to do the ruck work this time. It's won by Zadnik. Gibson puts a step on. She's caught though. Just gets a hand pass away. Valentini off to Stewart. She took off the moment the ball arrived. Kicks long into the middle of the ground. Smith is there. Lewis is there, rather. Ball bounces nicely for her. She needs to run and carry. Instead, she bombs long to White. Needs a good bounce. Getting in, Ralph. Oh, she taken high. The umpire calls play on. Hand pass comes back to White. Treads water for a moment. Snaps towards the vacant goal square. She's away to the right. And a behind only. Claremont had a big opportunity there and just didn't have the composure to work it well for a set shot again.
Terrific ball movement. Now, that's the speed that we've all been sort of calling for, just to get that ball in long. Lots of pressure on the Swannies and not quite able to finish.
So the margin of even 3 goals as Boucher runs her full measure, kicks for distance. Nice mark taken there by Smith. Umpire with a quick second whistle there. I thought for a moment it was going to be a 50-minute penalty applied, but just setting the mark. She'll be too far out to score. A little bit of movement forward of the play. In the end, the kick goes straight to a Swan Districts player deep in defence in Ferguson. Again, probably just didn't kick to a good area. That's not a good kick either. Straight to Alana Dickey. And the experienced forward for the Tigers simply has to convert to keep them in the game.
Alana Dickey's a forwards coach. So I reckon that's always a bit of added pressure when you've got the ball a very kickable kick, but on the wrong foot, you'd say, if you prefer to be on the other side. But steer this one in.
And she comes, strikes it well, and it's a goal. So Alana Dickey has another goal. She's kicked 4 this season for Claremont, her first for today. And Claremont are back within 2 straight kicks at the halfway point of this final quarter.
Apologies too, on the right footer side, perfect spot for Alana Dickey, and had no worries about it all that. She's done some good work with the forwards down there, and Ferguson setting up beautifully as a winger, just had to get that one out over the other side into space, and Alana Dickey good enough to intercept.
Miss kick. Just credit to Bella Lewis before for that run forward, just identifying that Brooke White was out in space, and she just had to put it in front of her. Just copped a bit of an unlucky bounce, but the ball managed to stay in there, and it resulted in a goal. So
I've never seen a ball spin like that.
Yes.
that Bella had kicked.
It's impossible to describe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was looked like it was a rectangular ball.
So when you're the forwards coach and you kick a goal like that, does that become part of the review meeting during the week? Do you
pop that up
cut
first?
Up the vision?
You do.
This is a set shot. This is how we do it.
I think you do.
Sad, Nick.
Trying to think of how many edits I would have had. 0.
Little hand pass coming out from Pugh. It was blocked. Her first half was good. We haven't seen much of her since the break. Garstone more worried about Houghton than getting the footy there. In the end, the ball comes back towards Garstone. Orm is tackled. She's thrown to ground. In the shadows of the apartments from the left forward pocket, we'll see another ball up.
That pressure at half forward there for the Swans would be very, very pleasing for all the Swans coaching staff.
So 2 goals the difference. Just under 8 minutes to play. Time for Claremont to sneak a couple of goals and perhaps pinch a victory here. But they'd have to be good from this point on. Strom has a run up at this one. Comes over the top. Wins the tap. They pile in on top. Bonza just trying to barge her way through. She was tackled without it. The umpire spotted that. And Bonza put both hands up to acknowledge the umpire. Yes, you're right. That's mine. My free kick.
It's been tackled by 2 different people. I think it's like a chicken wishbone.
Kicks a ball that spins sideways through the air. Great attack from Pugh. Her follow-up cleaned up a Swans player as well. Boucher kicks along the ground, straight back to Bonza. Sidesteps Bowen comfortably, and then kicks a tumbling ball down the line to Laurie, who couldn't hang on.
Been a few kicks like that today,
Yeah.
just balloons.
Let's just suggest the ball's flat.
Pump it up a bit.
Yes, or it's over pumped. No, obviously a bit of pressure out there.
It was interesting. The State 18s yesterday trailed by 3 goals at quarter time, and all the players complained the ball was too small and it was a bit flat. So, not too sure what that meant. They didn't complain too much in the second half when they eventually won the game. Goodwin Wissink has it now. Back to Orm, a little fumble. Let's put Claremont under a lot of pressure now. Michaela Hyde has it. Hand pass away to Holwell. She'll thread a hand pass out in front of Anderson. Something good will happen here for Swans, you would think. Anderson cruises through the 50. Didn't direct the kick very well. Garstone could have marked inside. Or instead, she decided to go with the double fist through for a rushed behind. 13 points is Swans' lead. 6 minutes to go.
I would just assume you changed the footy at half time, and that changed their fortunes because Garstone very, very wary of Horton.
So the kick comes back into play. Laurie does very well. Used the hip to get rid of her opponent and then took the ball nicely in the hands. A hand pass away towards Smith. Good attack again by Stewart. Took the half volley well. Off to Pugh. Waited for the traffic to come and then hand pass searching for Colgate. Couldn't take it cleanly. Trapped it between her feet in the end. She's tackled by Ferguson. We'll see another restart right on the centre line. Just over 5 minutes to play. Claremont need 3 goals from this position to win. Tough to do. Strom wins in the ruck. Smith to Pugh, who couldn't handle the football. Second attempt to Colgate. She sends a hopeful hand pass into the middle of the ground. Strom just took her eye off the ball at the last moment. Luckily at the back, Osborne was there to clean up again. Off to Holwell. Her kick not well directed. Might have been a shove on the Claremont player there in McDonald. No free kick. Now they're at the back again here, Swans. Anderson back with the flight. Takes the mark. Plays on under pressure. And as a result, her kick goes away to the right. And the pressure of Orm forces her behind. It's a 14-point lead to Swans with 4 minutes 45 on the clock.
Neat little play there. Little flip from Houghton over to Webb, who just put it to the advantage of Anderson. And a neat catch too. Great defensive work as usual by Orm.
Orm comes back into play for Claremont towards right half back. Interesting hand pass forward from Hill. Repelled by the Tigers. Pugh with the kick. Bella Lewis against Maguire, and the boundary line wins. So the clock continues to run, of course. There's no time on, just the flat 18-minute quarters. As a result, any stoppage is a bonus for Swans. Just chews up a bit more of the clock. Laurie wins the tap. Lewis runs straight into her State 18 skipper there, and she's penalised for holding the ball. Tough call. Free kick goes the way of Bowen, who dashes away, tumbles her kick forward, but straight to Goodwin Wissing. Bit of fatigue setting in. A lot of football's not spinning well off the boot. That one does from Goodwin Wissing. Sets it up for Robertson. Feeds it back by hand to Roden Zimdale. And then kicks high to half forward. White on the lead. Plenty of space. Takes the mark. Needs to move it on quickly. Has Metcalf giving a short lead. The kick goes in that direction. That's about the most space she's had all day. And I think she was expecting a player right on her hammer because she dropped an absolute sitter. And as a result, it'll be a ball up.
Feebout just strolls up casually and just lets her know that you had missed your chance there.
I think that's what she was expecting as the ball was arriving.
Yes.
It didn't happen this time. And
Fee was happy to provide.
That's right. She made sure she didn't miss out.
This is what you're after. Here it is a little bit late.
Bonza from centre half forward. Penetrating kick. Lewis opposed to Hyde. Lewis uses the body on Brianna Hyde. Brianna Hyde, I thought, might have grabbed hold of Lewis for a moment as well. Robertson's dived on the football. She's tackled, and the umpire decides it's a ball up. Deep forward for Claremont. They need everything to go right from here with 3 minutes to go, needing 3 goals to win. Metcalf in the ruck this time, down to Robertson. She's tackled and succumbs under the pressure of the tackle. We'll see another ball up. So it appears Swans have done enough here today. They should get to 3-3, although Stewart wants to see if she can make a difference here. She's stripped of the footy. Osborne, hurried kick forward, goes straight through the hands of Stannett. She goes back, receives a hand pass, and then kicks into a congested area at centre half forward for Claremont. Houghton attacks it well, kicks over the top. They've opened this space up again. If it bounces nicely for Anderson, she's in business. Took a sharp leg break, which now puts her under the pressure of Kate Orm, who did it very well. Anderson comes again. Good tackle. Just gets a kick to it, does Orm. In comes Bowen. Spun in the tackle. Got some sort of hand pass away. Osborne there, so too Stannett. Nice spin. Bought herself some time. And now the kick from Hill will fall into the lap of a teammate who drops the mark there. Davison probably should have done better. This time McDonald collects for Claremont. Kick goes sideways, but it's effective and finds Smith just backward of centre. So Swans by 14 points. It'll be win number 3 for them. They will be 3-3. Claremont will be 3-3 as well. It's going to be a 50-metre penalty here against Michaela Hyde, who I think she thought the umpire had called play on. I think he just said move it on. And so she came up to make the tackle, and now Smith has had the mark set right on attacking 50, so too far out for her to score. It's a pretty disappointing kick in the end from Smith, kicking off the back foot. And Swans, through Stannett, have the football once more. So this win for Swans will actually move them up into second place on the ladder. Claremont will drop to third. East Fremantle, after their loss to Subiaco, will be fourth. They have a game in hand over those other sides that they're competing against. Bonza backwards by hand to Goodwin Wissing, back to Bonza again. Being one of Claremont's best, if not their best player today. Kicks to half forward. Osborne, another player who's had a big day for Swans, applies a good tackle on Colgate. Hurried kick falls for Lewis, who gains 10 metres. A little inside-out torpedo that trickles across the boundary line. So throw in right forward pocket.
She was about to launch that, but I think it would have been into the scaffolding.
So the dying seconds of this one. Important win for Swan Districts, as we've said. 3 goals to Kelly Gibson in game number 100. Great way for her to celebrate the milestone in the black and white jumper. Kick comes from Bowen towards centre half back. Roden Zimdale wants a late possession. She'll dish it off towards Valentini. And as McDonald takes possession, the siren goes and Swans have win number 3. They've beaten Claremont for the second time this season. And they will move up to second place on the ladder after that victory here today over Claremont. A 14-point win to the visiting Black and Whites. 3 goals to Gibson Houghton's kicked 1, Michaela Hyde 1, and Webb 1, while for Claremont, 2 goals to White and then 1 each to Stewart and to Dickey. Deggers and Jono, it's been a good day for Swans. They were good right from the start, really, and didn't have the game in total control throughout, Jono, but were easily the better side on the day.
Yeah, they definitely controlled majority of the play all day, and when they did control it, they made the most of their opportunities and never really let Claremont into the game at all.
Deggers, you're impressed with, again, the youth of Swans?
I am, absolutely. Happy with just a couple of mentions, I guess, from Swans. I think the good news for Swans is Stannett looks like she's found a home and looks very comfortable. They're happy to have her back. Michaela Bowen looks like she's back at full stride. Gibson is looking very dangerous, and in the lead up to the finals should be the difference. And Naira Anderson with a bit of a breakout game today, I was pretty impressed with too. Over at Claremont, great game from Claremont. They were looking to bounce back from last week. They needed to, and so did Swans, of course. But I think they've got their backs sorted over at Tigerland. I think the backs are sort of love what Roden Zimdale's starting to come. Pugh's a great leader down there with her. I think Bella Lewis looks absolutely home at league level. And I think with Gibson being so good, I think you can add Stewart to that too. Jazzy Stewart looks like she's up and about with Bonza. They've found a forward in White. She just needs a couple of mates, I think. And I think Claremont will have a good season.
So Naomi Baker there, we might see her in shot here, just away to the left. She's on the back of the Swans runner, so the injury, I think it was to her left leg. She wasn't able to put any weight on her left leg as she came off the ground. I think it was early in the last quarter. And late in the third, unable to finish off the game for Swan District, so it would appear to be a lower leg injury, perhaps an ankle. And she's having a piggyback as she's in the circle at the moment with the Swans and Claremont players arm in arm. We'll get you the Swans song shortly. And as I said, Swans will move to second. So the ladder now would have Subiaco on 20, Swans and Claremont on 12, East Fremantle 8 and Peel 4. East Fremantle and Peel have had 2 byes already, and the other 3 clubs are still just with the 1 bye so far. So Subiaco, the pace setters, and then it's a logjam really for the other teams. And from what we've seen today, Jono, Swans and Claremont would both consider themselves to be worthy challengers for Subiaco.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think Claremont have proven it, having beaten them a couple of weeks ago, and then obviously Subi got the better of them last week. Subi just played their own game and did not let Tigers in the game. And of course, Swans, they've been such a strong club for a number of years, and I think their young talent is coming to shine through now, and they're getting the opportunities. As Deggers mentioned at the start of that fourth quarter, there was 2 18-year-olds and 2 17-year-olds, so they're getting the opportunities, and I think that's only going to do well for them going into the second half of the
Cameron
season.
Kane and Sharp didn't play today for the Black Ducks, so they get some some absolute high-level elite talent to be injected into that team. We can't probably say that about Amara Cameron, but I'm pretty excited about the way she's playing. We're going to go to the song in just a moment from the Swans, who'll sing it with a bit of gusto, I reckon, after last week.
Yeah, it's been an up-and-down season for Swans. They've gone loss, win, and now win. So they'd like to string 2 wins together. Here's their song.
Man, what a thrill for Webb and Strom to be in the middle of the huddle there, being hugged by Kelly Gibson during her 100th, enjoying that victory.
Yeah.
Might have a hard time getting rid of those 2 if you're at the Swans Footy Club after today.
So a first win in WAFLW for a few players in there, and of course the 100th game for Kelly Gibson. And well, if she wasn't best on ground, she'd be in the votes today. Her 3 goals were critical in this match, in a game that was decided by 14 points. Anytime someone can kick half of your goal tally, then they've had a massive influence on the game, Jono.
Yeah, definitely. She just proved her worth, and she's a genuine forward and just provides so much as well, that leadership on the ground, and probably instills those younger girls with a lot of confidence to play their own game. Obviously, one of the highs, I'm not sure which one, but was at her feet a lot of the game and worked hard to get forward and just support whoever was up forward as well.
Michaela, she grew a leg around with Kelly Gibson around.
Some of the highlights from the final quarter here. And Deg, that's probably the one thing Claremont are lacking, isn't it? You're saying the forward line, it's not dysfunctional, but there's some questions to be answered there. If they had a Gibson type, someone with a bit of experience and a bit of nous around goal, they could be very dangerous up there.
I think they can build something around White. And Alana Dickey's clever. She likes to play that high lateral forward, and that creates a bit of space. But I just think over the last 2 weeks, the Tigers forwards have been sucked into the hole. They're all staying too close together. It's too much about handballing and too much about attempting to pass 30 metres out. Johnny, you made the call twice during the game. The 30 metres out from goal, you're okay to take a shot and miss. That you shouldn't be brought to the bench if you're 30 metres on your right foot and you don't get one quite in. So I think that they've got something to build around Brooke White. She's providing a real target. She's aggressive. She's making body contact down there. Isabella Lewis is an obvious one to play down deep with her. And then they've got to work with Metcalf to get her some space. If they're going to play a long ball in game, then they'll need a different player to stand in the goal square than they've got it at the moment.
And would also like to see, obviously Bella Lewis is her first year of senior footy, but take some responsibility and back herself to kick the goal. She's handballed 2 potential goals to players under pressure.
She's such a ripper kid. She's just trying to fit in and play a role, and you're going to get it straight out of her, I reckon, as the season builds.
Yeah, there's some talent there to work with for Claremont, I'm sure, and Swan Districts also. So many young players. We're talking there about that centre line. Just looking at the ages, the eldest player in that whole centre line at the start of the last quarter was 22.
Yes.
Ferguson, 22 years old. And the rest, as you said, I think are all State 18s players. And one of those playing her first game on loan from South Fremantle as well. It's tremendous faith in the youth, as Kelly Gibson's actually been chaired off the ground here at Claremont Oval now in game number 100 for Swan Districts. So fantastic day for Kelly Gibson, great day for Swan Districts, another win for them. They move up to second on the ladder. Thanks very much again to Emily Johnson, doing a wonderful job. Clint Degerod as well. Thanks for your efforts this afternoon. To the guys in the truck as well, keeping things rolling, doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much for your efforts as well. Well done to Swan Districts. They move up to second. A loss for Claremont. They drop to third. Next week's game for streaming is a big one. It's on Sunday. It's between Swan Districts and East Fremantle. Swans on the road again next week to take on the Sharks. Massive game for them. Claremont will travel down the road to Peel Thunder to take on the team from Mandurah. Thanks very much for your company this afternoon. Stick with the WAFLW streaming over the rest of the season.
This WAFLW live stream is proudly brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the Waffle, and WAFLW. Bupa, proud sponsor of WA football. And the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.